heimlich.
Jene zum
Kannst also zusammenschneiden. Okay, take one, let's go.
So here we are, boys, right? Episode 1, YouTube series. I think it's good to do a little rewind and start where it all began in 2022. We started with a running club in Munich. Jonathan, you remember at retreat?
Yeah.
The first we had with maybe, I don't know, 3 people? Or
Yeah, I think 2 other people showing up.
Yeah.
So in total we were 4 people.
Yeah. And I think that was the start of it, right? That was
Exactly.
how we started Kato. Back at this point we were scratching some logos.
I still, maybe we can insert the photos here of the first logos.
Yeah, just send me the photos. I'm
That
gonna
is-
take it. They're gonna pop up.
That is
But at this point we didn't knew what will happen, and it was not that structured as it is now. And then after the running club, I think we had our first few shirts. We did a little drop with black tees, only with the big Kato sign. And yeah, I think from there it all began.
Then we launched a website in 2022. Had no idea how to set up a website. Did everything by ourselves. Started with the first product, the heartbeat cap. I can still remember us 2 driving to Austria. We had no idea. It was in the middle of nowhere,
Yeah,
a small factory. And
But the woman was nice.
The woman was
She was super nice. I remember.
But she was also overwhelmed because we weren't prepared at all. We had the designs, but we didn't even know the sizes of the logo and everything. We had to do everything there.
Still selling them? No, not selling.
Now they're sold out.
Now they're sold out, finally. I mean, maybe we should say we just started the company then in October or November 2022. And then the caps were released on January 23. So we are a little bit more than 1 year in business now. And the cap was the perfect product because it was unisex and unisize. So there was a good trial for us, trial and error. And then a lot of other stuff happened. Maybe it's good to say how you came on board, Eva.
Yeah,
because initially
this is
it was
exactly the point where I got involved. We started to shoot the campaign for the cap, and this was my part. So we had some calls when I was back. At that point, I was in Innsbruck. I was living in Austria for a few months. From there on, I joined the boys. We had the first meetings, and we had a mood board, stuff like that. We made everything ready for the campaign, and then we got to Munich. And it was the first time all of us on the same place for a shooting of the campaign. And then we shot a campaign for, it was 1 day? It was 1 day, right?
one day.
I think one.
And it was super cold.
It was super cold.
It was
Sorry to Lisa and Emmanuel, to our 2 models, if you're watching this. Sorry for that, but I think we did a good job.
100%.
Yeah.
We did a good job. It was the first campaign, and when I'm looking at the campaign now, I'm still proud of it.
100%.
At some point, we talked about Lisbon, and then
I actually have to tell that story.
Yeah, true.
It was after a track session that we did together. I think that was the first time that we also trained together on the track next to Schönbad. Maybe some people from Munich know the place. And then we walked back to the underground, and I told Iba that we are moving to Lisbon. And before that, Iba actually had different plans, but then I asked him hey bro, do you just want to join us in Lisbon? And he looked at me and he was like for real? And I was like, shit, no, I said it, so I have to say yes. And then I was like, yeah, for sure, you can join us when you want. So we can also search an apartment for 3 people. And then 2 weeks after that, I went to Vienna for an expo. And then I went for a run, and I can still remember you were FaceTiming me and I was running through Vienna. And then Iba basically told me hey, is the offer still available? And I said yes, sure. And then everything was set, and then I called Mario.
Jonathan was calling me okay, Iba's on board now. And I was like, no way.
I was so overwhelmed, therefore I had to call you immediately and said
And for me it was super funny because I initially came to Lisbon because of my master's degree, and I thought okay, I won't see them for a long time. We somehow have to handle Kato from Munich and Lisbon at the same time. Then Jonathan decided to also start his master's and come to Lisbon, and then Iba was on board as well. So the whole team basically came to Lisbon.
Yeah.
Then the struggle was to find a nice apartment, car to crib, but we managed that somehow and found a pretty nice place.
We gotta be honest, you managed it.
Props to Mr. Facility Manager Mario.
Yes.
And Antunes, shout out to Antunes.
Shout out to Antunes.
He managed himself.
And then maybe coming to the first big trip, we've been to Lisbon, to Paris for the Paris Marathon.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was like the first big trip for us, like going from Lisbon to Paris, to run a marathon together with a friend Peter.
And
it was my first marathon, your second, right?
Second,
second marathon. And that was also the first time that we designed an entire collection, the Run Club collection. And we shot another campaign in Paris.
In Paris, live. 1 day before the marathon.
That was very hectic, very stressful, but we got everything done in time. Ran the marathon. It was a very tough course in Paris. If you want to run the Paris Marathon, like, consider it twice because it's brutal, especially in the end. But it's also worth it. Shout out to Roy, who was the main character of our campaign. He also did a great job. He came from New York City to Paris to shoot the campaign with us. We went back to Lisbon, and I think 2 weeks after that we went to London, right?
Yeah, it was like a short gap.
Really short.
To visit our good friend Amar. We are shout outed too many people, but shout out to Amar. He would actually come to Munich as well, from July to September and support us with the brand. He's also a very talented guy, very grateful to have him on the team as well. Then we stayed in London for 1 week, I think, to visit some other run clubs and connect with other people from the community. The 10K.
I think it was good for us to see, because in London and Paris the communities are already so big. I think that's like the hotspots in Europe for running. And we could like transfer some of the things and got some inspiration also to bring it to Lisbon and Munich.
Definitely. The culture there is way stronger already. They are doing a great job. And we have to mention your challenge as well. Because the both of us, we ran a 10K through Hyde Park, which was pretty chill, to be honest.
I did a 10K swim in the officially Olympic.
Wait, did you hear that? 10K swim. Like, he just mentions that so casually, but we are talking about a 10K swim. Just for context, during an entire Ironman, I think the distance is 3.8 kilometers. So it's triple the distance of an Ironman.
So we have a real athlete. It's also important to mention that we built the running club in Lisbon. So we had initially the running club in Munich, and then we made a break because we all went to Lisbon, so we couldn't sustain it there. But we started a running club in Lisbon as well, and attracted a lot of runners pretty early. And they are still running right now in Lisbon, so we still have the community.
At that point when we came back, we started to design the Run the Risk collection.
Yes, exactly.
That was the first step, like we got back, and then the next bigger step for us was to get our stuff for the next collection ready.
Then we shot the Run the Risk campaign, which was insane.
Actually, it's one of my highlights of the whole brand.
Same here. Luis flew in from Australia.
Shout out again.
Shout out to Luis. He did an awesome job together with this boy. The entire team, also Stefan, our model. It basically felt like a movie itself. Like, filming the campaign, it was so intense.
It would take us 20 minutes to explain what happened.
I think we will talk about that in another episode, maybe show some behind the scenes content. I think it would be too comprehensive for this video now. But after that, we moved back to Munich. I mean, we stayed for 2 or 3 months longer in Lisbon, and then we decided to move back to Munich because it's just easier for us to manage the business from here, because there are less like entry barriers, and we are also registered here in Germany, so it just made sense for us to do it here. And we also wanted to establish the running community here in Munich again.
I think it was like a really smooth transition, because you were already going back in summer, and they started the running club again here in Munich, finding a new partner. Shout out to Redbox. And I was still in Lisbon to finish up my master's degree, so I could still be present in the community and find somebody who's taking the community now, Antonio and Ricky as well.
Big shout out to Ricky and Antonio.
A big thank you for that.
We will like insert a small shout out counter here. We moved back to Munich, the two of us. Started the run club again, like you said, together with Breadbox. We had like a small period before that where we did it together with the Tin Shop. Maybe some of you can remember. Then we did it with the Breadbox. And then I think we started to focus on the two pop-up stores that we did in October for the Lisbon Marathon and the Munich Marathon. So Mario was managing everything locally in Lisbon, and Iba and I were taking care of the Munich pop-up. And that was the first time that we also presented ourselves like physically and got in touch with other people, like showed all of our products, and just built a brand experience for the people. So that they were able to like understand what Kato is all about, and maybe like we can also explain why we're actually recording that video right now. That is also the reason why we want to introduce the vlog series now, to give you guys some more background information about Kato itself, some behind the scenes, how it actually is to build a sportswear brand from scratch. We also want to give you some training insights. Right now we are preparing for High Rocks, which is a fitness competition, but we will also prepare for some other half marathons and marathons in the next couple of months. And I think it could be pretty interesting for people to follow that journey and see some insights. So from now on we will try to do it like every 2 weeks, every Sunday, to give you guys a small recap of the week, what happened. Like I said, just some brand insights, so that you also get to know us better personally. Because that's what Kato is all about, right? Like we want to build personal relationships with our audience and be tangible.
I think also because like a lot of people like coming to the running club are asking us, okay, what is Kato about? How did you start? How did you make it happen? And I think this episode was great to just explain it, right?
Exactly. I think it would be too hard to tell everyone, so therefore we thought we can just produce one video that everyone can watch.